Hello, this is Janet Michael. In addition to hosting The Valley Today each weekday at noon on the River 95.3, I also produce podcasts, and I'm excited to introduce you to a new podcast series in partnership with Lord Fairfax Community College. Having provided higher education and career training for the past half-century, LFCC is tightly interwoven into the fabric of the Northern Shenandoah Valley and Piedmont regions. Join me every week for conversations with current and former students to hear their funny and inspiring stories as we learn about their journey to higher education, the role that LFCC has played, where they are now, and where they plan to go. We'll also talk to current and former professors about their experiences and best memories of LFCC over the past 50 years. Get every single episode as they're released on our website at theriver953.com under the podcast tab, or you can subscribe for free in Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, on Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search for LFCC Stories. Hello and welcome to The Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is Traffic Safety Thursday, and boy, have we got a Traffic Safety Thursday in store for you. We are pre-recording our conversation today, but this is how close to making sure we are on point and up to date with our information. I am in the studio today pre-recording with Lieutenant Warren Gosnell from the Frederick County Sheriff's Office, and one of the things that we wanted to talk about was some bills that were sitting on the governor's desk when you got here a little while ago that we have since found out that he has made some changes to. So now we can actually talk about them without wondering, did he sign them? And everything we talk about today is irrelevant when people are listening to it on Thursday.
Yeah, basically, I think we found out that HB 5058 out of the House of Delegates has been sitting on his desk now for maybe a week, waiting to be signed into law. HB 5058 has a sister bill from the Senate with similar language, which also has passed and made it to the governor's desk. And both of these bills basically say they're going to limit the ability of law enforcement to stop motorists for certain, I'm using the little quote marks with my fingers, minor infractions. Some of those infractions include tag light, the little light that illuminates your license plate, dangling objects from your rear view mirror,
hanging your masks from your rear view mirror,
loud exhaust, and certain window tints. Those are the first four that are listed in HB 5058. And I can tell you, you and I have talked here just now for the past 12 minutes or so off air, and I've been talking now for about a week. I've done a few posts about this. I've written an email to the governor, not because I feel I'm anybody special, but I did win his Transportation Safety Award a couple of years ago for traffic safety and law enforcement. So I'm like, hey, Governor, you recognize me for my work. Let me help you out here.
Yeah, I kind of know what I'm talking about on this particular subject.
I'm not sure he's actually gotten it or read it yet, but it's been sent. I haven't gotten a reply. But to see what you and I just found on the website, that he's making amendments to the bill, I think we as a whole in law enforcement and citizens who have reached out after hearing some of this have gotten his ear and we're making an impact. So that's good. These first four violations that we talked about, safety over convenience. You and I talk about this, Janet. Those four violations, really not much on the traffic safety front.
Right.
Okay. I will say this, though, and I pointed this out to others before, because people talk about that tag light. A lot of people getting pulled over for that tag light. That's ridiculous. Again, why did they make it a law? Why is it a part of the inspection process? It's a violation, whether it's major, minor, or whatever. But I'm going to agree that it's not a big safety violation. But I will point out, like I pointed out to you, years ago, the Oklahoma City bomber was caught based on a minor equipment infraction on the box truck that he was driving. The license plate wasn't securely fastened. He was stopped for that minor violation, and the investigation went from there, and they were able to investigate him, charge him, and convict him for all those deaths. So sometimes things that look small can lead into bigger things, and there are other law enforcement officers, troopers, deputies out there who do criminal interdiction, drug interdiction, and some of those minor violations are used to stop vehicles to begin an investigatory stop. But that's a different discussion. Right now we're talking truly traffic safety.
Yeah,
all right. So
like your headlights on at night. I mean, that.
Which leads us into the other part of this bill. 3 equipment violations that made it through the final reading and vote and on the way to the governor were: you couldn't be stopped for driving without working brake lights, for not driving without taillights, for not driving with headlights on after dark. Now, let me be clear, because some people got confused over this. They're not repealing the violations or the code sections. These are still violations. What this bill was saying was a police officer could see you driving down the road without your headlights on, middle of the night, and he couldn't use that probable cause to stop you. If he had another reason to stop you,
if I was speeding, if I was swerving, if I was doing something else,
then you get stopped for that, and you could get hit with driving without the headlights before you got hit driving without your headlights, if you follow what I'm saying.
Yes.
But in this bill, as ridiculous as it sounds, they could be driving along middle of the night without the lights on. We wouldn't be able to stop them. And if an officer did stop him, if an officer said, hey, this is just too dangerous, no, I'm not letting him go any further, so I'm stopping him. Hey, buddy, your lights aren't on. And you go from there and you find evidence of another crime, you can't use any of that evidence. It's in the bill. Even with the person's consent. Yeah, you can look at my trunk, and you find firearms, illegal narcotics, a body, whatever. You know, you can't use that because you stopped him for no headlights. Some of the legislators wanted to backpedal. After this bill came out, Delegate Hope, who was one of the patrons of the bill, said he didn't realize that the headlight issue was in there. And you and I have both talked, well, maybe it didn't start out that way in your bill, but you know how this stuff goes as it makes it through the different committees and such. Maybe before you gave it your final vote, you should have reread it.
How about a once-over?
Okay? But some of the other legislators were saying, well, you could just charge them for reckless driving. Okay?
And I love that legislators are making law. Can we just stop for a second and focus on the fact that legislators who are probably doctors and all of these other
a lot of them are lawyers.
But
a lot of them are lawyers.
But they're not law enforcement.
You're absolutely right. And some of them have been defense attorneys. So, with that said,
not that I am, saying anything bad about defense attorneys. I may need one if I don't survive this whole puppy fiasco.
You stop somebody for
I'm going to need a good defense attorney or a divorce lawyer.
You stop somebody for not having their headlights on at night, but you're going to put it under the guise of reckless driving. Okay, it is reckless. I agree with that. So you go up, and now you smell alcohol. And so that leads you into a DUI investigation. And based on that investigation and the testing you provide, you find the person's impaired and under the influence, and you arrest them DUI. Well, hey, folks, something that a lot of people don't know, but your defense attorneys, the good ones, they know, and prosecutors and judges, and some of us in law enforcement know, you can't charge a motorist in Virginia with general reckless driving and DUI.
You got to pick one.
Double jeopardy attaches, okay? If you charge them with both, they can walk in, plead to the reckless, and the DUI is now gone. So some of the legislators really, okay, they're thinking in the right place to a degree, but they haven't thought it all the way through. Depends on what that crime is that we found when we stopped them for the reckless, and the reckless was because they didn't have the headlights. My thing would be, let's pull that part from the bill, okay? No brake lights, including the third Cyclops brake light. If you're driving along and the car in front of you suddenly hits the brakes to avoid a deer, because we're getting into rutting season, I believe, and deer season starts soon.
It starts next Saturday.
And about the time that car goes from 45 to 10 in the matter of 3 seconds, and you have absolutely no idea because nothing lights up from the rear, and you smash into them, who's going to be at fault?
It's you, because you hit that car.
Are you? And you're going to say, well, the brake lights didn't work. Well, now they definitely don't work because they've been smashed. So how are you going to prove that unless you have a dash camera? The other one was no working taillights. So let's think about it. Rain, fog, snow, any of those type of conditions where visibility can get low and you're traveling down the road, you come around a turn, and where you might have a chance if you see that red glow up in front of you, there's nothing because the taillights aren't operating. Again, smash. And let's get away from who's going to be charged, who's going to be at fault, which insurance company is going to not pay the claim. Let's talk about the injury. Let's talk about the possible deaths that we're going to see. So when we're talking about this, it's not law enforcement whining, well, you're not giving us any chance to pull people over. And it's not Big Brother wanting to make money for the government, because we've already had this talk, folks. Yeah. All right? Out of a $50, $75, even $100 fine, very, very little of that money comes back to a locality. None comes back to the officer or deputy. Very little comes back to the agency they work for, and only a little comes back to the municipality or the county that they're working for. So it's not a revenue generator. Okay? This is safety over convenience that we're talking about here today, but I think it's time for us to take a break, and then we'll come back to it.
Oh, you need a breath? Do you need to take a breath here?
I'm ready to keep rolling.
I just wrote down get dash cam on my notes. I got to get on Amazon and get me a dash cam for my car. We are going to take a quick break. We are in the studio pre-recording today with Lieutenant Warren Gosnell from the Frederick County Sheriff's Office. We are doing our Traffic Safety Thursday, and it is safety over convenience is our topic. When we come back, we're going to talk about my car inspection because I got one. We're going to be back in just a couple of minutes.
Do you know anyone who is struggling with financial hardships because of coronavirus? Our new webinar called Coping with the Money Crunch can help. We'll talk about immediate options to consider, revising or creating a spending plan, and lots of community resources. Then we'll cover how to narrow your priorities, contact creditors, and avoid scams and risky loans. The webinar is free, and you can either join by phone or through Zoom on a smartphone, tablet, or computer. You can find out more by visiting the Northern Shenandoah Valley Financial Education Program on Facebook or calling Karen Poff at 540-635-4549. Let me show you how to make your own plan or help someone you care about get through the crisis. Call 635-4549 or visit @NSV Financial Education on Facebook today.
Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is Traffic Safety Thursday. As you are listening to the show today, we, however, have pre-recorded our conversation in the studio, which is probably why the sound is so much better and they don't hear puppies whining in the background.
Well, what I wouldn't give to have puppies whining in the background.
You better be careful what you wish for, because you can follow me home. We are chatting with Lieutenant Warren Gosnell from the Frederick County Sheriff's Office. In the first segment, we started talking about House Bill 5058, and the overarching theme for today's show is safety over convenience.
Correct.
Because I think we don't really, as drivers, I don't ever really think of it that way. I mean, it's just not something that crosses my mind. I do what I'm supposed to do because I know I'm supposed to do it.
No one wants to be pulled over, all right? Again, when it comes to talking about traffic safety and when we get into the violations and actual traffic stops and all, I know. I've been on the other side of the window.
What?
I remember back in the day being pulled over and wishing to all I could wish for, please, 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 let me have a break. Please let me have a warning. And sometimes I got a warning and sometimes I didn't. So I know what it's like. And I know what some people believe. And truth be told, Janet, we're not going to convince everyone.
No.
You know, there are going to be people that still say, hey, I know you all have quotas. And it doesn't matter if I put my hand on the Bible. It doesn't matter what I swear to, you know. And could there be organizations or individual officers who do set such quotas for themselves or maybe for their people? There could be. But I'm telling you right now, here in our area locally, there is no agency that has any type of quota system or would even try to allude to their personnel about a quota system. It's just that much of a taboo topic. And I can tell you, in Frederick County right now, unfortunately, we have enough to keep us busy.
Yeah.
We don't have to set I need someone to go out and do this or write this many or stop this.
I need you to get 45 speeding tickets and you to get 35 didn't stop at a stop sign.
All I need my people to do is be as safe as possible. If you see something, act upon it. You use your discretion how you're going to act upon it, knowing that we have certain guidelines. Someone that's 20 miles an hour over, I don't expect them to be getting a warning. I'm sorry. No. But other than that, you see something, you act upon it, use your discretion. But there are going to be people out there that aren't going to believe us, and that's fine. Okay? I'm not here to try to convince anybody. I'm here to try to help folks navigate what can be a confusing legislative session right now, dangerous roadways, and to arrive alive. That's my goal. I am 23 years in, and I'm still responding to crash scenes where people are losing their lives. They're either already dead or they're sitting there in front of me dying. And the latest one we had was just a little bit over a week ago on a secondary road where a gentleman from Front Royal is driving along, and the guy in the next lane coming towards him swerves over into his lane, and they have a near head-on collision. The other gentleman is under the influence at 2 p.m.
Wow.
During the week. And this elderly gentleman is trapped in his vehicle because we can't get the door open, but I'm talking to him through the window, and abrasions on his head and such, but no way that I thought he wasn't going to make it. And several days later, he passed. And so that's what I'm preaching about, folks. That's why I'm up on the soapbox. That's why the sheriff has a traffic division. Sheriff Milholland continues to receive calls on a regular basis about people speeding through subdivisions, passing past school buses, reckless driving, racing. We've had 4 different motorcycle crashes in Frederick County, 2 of which have been fatals, and 2 others were an amputated arm, and I wasn't sure about the other leg on the 4th one.
Wow.
But these were all single motorcycle vehicle crashes, not with other cars involved. And it was just motorcycles doing things, or the riders doing things they shouldn't have been doing. We're trying to stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we're talking about HB 5058, and you can tell I'm on a roll today. I'm going to keep talking. I'll keep an eye on the clock, but I'm passionate about this because, again, along with working those scenes and talking with those people and then never being able to talk to them again, sometimes I'm also the one that has to inform the family, or my guys are. And so it does become personal after a point in time. But with HB 5058, anyone with common sense is saying, well, yeah, you can't drive at night without your lights on. Cops should be able to stop you. Studies have proven 65% of the time that a vehicle traveling at night without its lights on. Now, I'm not talking about just coming out of the 7-Eleven, the store, the big mall parking lot where everything was lit up, and you pull out and you feel like, my lights, okay? We're talking about somebody that's
nice
4 or 5 miles down the road, still, 65% of the time, those drivers are under the influence. Okay?
That doesn't surprise me.
We don't make this stuff up, okay? So you're taking an intervention tool for impaired driving and telling troopers and officers and deputies you can't stop them just for that. And then someone wants to come along, well, you could just charge them reckless. Okay, well, you don't know about DUI law, delegate, senator,
whoever,
governor.
Yeah.
You can't do that because general reckless can't be charged along with the DUI. So a couple of other items in the bill. And now, did we tell them that the governor's suggested amendments?
Yes. Well, we did, but then you went off on your tangent about what was originally in the bill.
The governor has since now said that he believes the headlights after dark and the working brake lights should be taken out of there. Now, that's good. How about the seatbelt? They go ahead and they put in here that you can't stop a vehicle for an adult in the front seat not belted in. Well, you haven't been able to stop in Virginia for that anyway. But what they've added is if you stop for that, you can't investigate any other crime, and anything you find can't be used against them, even with consent. So again, they're tacking on this extra language to codes that are already secondary, so that they're saying, okay, if you stop anybody for this, you can't do anything else.
Well, and let's be honest. I mean, if you pull over, Tim and I are driving down the road, and you pull us over because he's driving and I don't have my seatbelt on. By the time you get up to the car, I got my seatbelt on.
I'm going to say you look like a juvenile.
Let's just be
You looked awful young to me, ma'am. I'm sorry.
I have my seatbelt on by the time you get to the car.
And let me tell you, we know how to watch people sneak into their seatbelt. If anything, I zoom my dash camera in on it to catch it.
And well, hey, I take all the precautions. I was joking with you before we started recording for the show that Tim went and got my car inspected this Saturday because it ended at the end of October, and I was not going to pull in the parking lot today, knowing that you were coming in behind me.
Mighty fine.
Yes, so you have kept me honest.
So okay, let's talk about inspections. HB 5058 says that once he signs it, if he doesn't amend this part of it, that you can't be stopped for an expired inspection sticker until the first day of the 4th month. So that means you have a 90-day grace period. That's what some people are going to think.
Yeah.
But let me point out, folks, again, while you can't be stopped for it, it's a violation. You come through a checkpoint, you're 5, 6, 7 miles an hour over the speed limit and get pulled over for it and have a dead inspection. Whatever the reason, if law enforcement has a legitimate reason to encounter you, they can now address all those violations that you couldn't be pulled over for. Let me also say that in Virginia right now, there's a code section that says certain equipment, if it's not functioning properly and it's found to not be functioning on the traffic stop, the officer, the deputy, the trooper shall confiscate your tags for up to 15 days until you either fix it, prove it, and get your tags back, or after the 15 days, they go to DMV.
Oh.
Guess what happens if your tags get confiscated? Can't drive it on the highway.
Yeah.
All right? You see a cascade effect here. Yeah. And again, here we go. We're just looking to make money. No.
Big brother.
I'm telling you what the law says. These same legislators who created HB 5058 and its sister bill in the Senate are the ones that created this other code section that says we don't have a choice. If this equipment doesn't work and we found it not working along the roadside, we shall confiscate your tags. That takes the discretion away from the officer anytime the word shall appears in the code section. So those same legislators that are saying, officer, you can't do this, this, and this, are saying, but you will do this if you find this. So there's still violations. It's going to be the same with registration. First day of the 4th month. Okay? Well, let me tell you 2 things, and then I guess it's time for us to wrap up. Number 1, on the inspection, I'll tell you what I told Janet. If you wait till the first day of the 4th month every cycle and you don't get stopped and you don't get ticketed, well, then your inspection's good for another 12 months from there. Do that 3 times in a row, and you will actually cover 4 years and only pay 3 inspections.
Oh, yeah.
So, is it Big Brother? No, I'm telling you how to skirt the system. If you really want to skirt it, if you really want to skirt it, there you go. But remember, there's still violations, and if you get caught, you're going to pay. Now, with the registration to DMV,
it doesn't work that way.
No, because the month still stays the same. You're just paying late, and so they're going to say, we want a late fee. And then in 9 months, it's going to be due again. And if you don't do it, then we want another late fee.
Yeah.
So DMV is still going to get the squeeze, all right? But that's just some. If you want, look it up, House Bill 5058. Look it up online. Read some of the things. There are a few other code sections in there we didn't talk about. It's coming under the police reform discussion. But I'm telling you, folks, some of this stuff just wouldn't be safe for you and your family. And I hate to see any of you be on the receiving end because someone else didn't take care of their equipment or were driving recklessly at night without lights on or knew they didn't have brake lights and went out anyway in some beat-up old vehicle thinking, well, I don't have to do it, and they cause someone property damage, injury, or even death.
Safety over convenience.
Yep.
Thank you for coming to hang out with me. This was quite a spirited conversation. Well, you had quite a spirited conversation. We are going to wrap up today. We are in the studio pre-recording our conversation with Lieutenant Warren Gosnell from the Frederick County Sheriff's Office. It is Traffic Safety Thursday. If you missed any part of the show or you want somebody else to listen to what we're saying, the podcast is up on theriver953.com. Just choose the podcast tab there. You'll find the Valley Today. And before I wrap up, I got to say, hi to my favorite sheriff, Lenny Milholland, because you didn't even give me 30 seconds to say, I love my favorite sheriff, Lenny Milholland.
Zup, Sheriff.
So there you go. And he can't text you because he doesn't know we've done this yet. So you'll get this text tomorrow when the show airs. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll have a brand new episode of The Valley Today ready to go for you just a few minutes after noon. Meet me here then.